Okay, we're going to talk about making negative exponents into positive ones, okay? Now the first one we're going to evaluate, and same with the third one. This one we're going to turn into a actual exponent itself, a positive exponent. So that one's a little different. So let's start with the first one. What I want you to recognize is this is some base to an exponent, right? So we have the base of the exponent. All of the bases can be written like a fraction, just like this one technically is here. Let's write this as a fraction. So this now becomes 3 over 1. You can make any whole number a fraction by putting it over 1. And we'll put it in brackets, and we put our exponent on the outside, and it's negative 2. Well, I need to make this positive. To turn this into a positive exponent, I invert the fraction, which means I flip it. Okay? So this then becomes 1 over 3, still to the power of 2, but the 2 is no longer negative. It's a positive. And now what this essentially means is 1/3 times 1/3, right? So we'll do 1/3 times 1/3. Or you could have written this as a side note. I'm going to say, well, actually, I'll do this part first. We multiply fractions, 1 by 1, 3 by 3. You end up with 1 over 9. Or you could have written this like 1 to the power of 2 and 3 to the power of 2, which would have gave us 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9, 1 over 9, right? So you could evaluate that either way. Let's go to the second one. Now this one we actually want to turn into a base, but they haven't told us what base. So I'm going to say I want it to be a base 3. Okay, so I need to figure out what base 3 are, when the 3 is the base, what exponent can I put 3 to equal 27? Well, I happen to know off the top of my head that 3 to the power of 3 is 27. Okay? So I'm going to make this a base 3 question. This then becomes 1 over 3 to the power of 3. So do you see how I've replaced 27 with 3 to the power of 3? Okay. But I want to make it so that I have the base like this. I don't want it to be in fraction form, let's say. And there's a lot of instructions. I know this question wasn't as clear. I'm kind of going through it as we go. Well, this can also be written as 1 over 3 to the power of 3. Right? Just like this one was written here, I've written it like a fraction. See the similarities between the two? In this case, it was a negative, and to turn it positive, I inverted the fraction. In this case, it's positive. I want to turn it negative. How would I do that?
You'd like put 3 over 1.
Exactly. We invert the fraction again. So it can go vice versa. It becomes 3 over 1 to the power of negative 3. And I don't really need to write it as 3 over 1, right? I can just write it as 3 to the power of negative 3. So do you see how I've just reversed that process? Yeah. That's the exact same idea. That was 3 to the power of negative. This is 3 to the power of negative 3. And let's do the last question here. This one here I need to evaluate. It's already in fraction form.
So you invert those.
Let's invert it. So we get 3 over 4. And what's the power going to be?
Positive 4.
Yeah, so we have positive 4. And a fast way to do this is this becomes 3 to the power of 4 over
4 to the power of 4.
Okay, let's evaluate them. Let's use our calculator. 3 to the power of 4, 81, over 4 to the power of 4, 256. And that would be your answer. Or you could divide it and get a decimal. Okay? Does that idea make sense?
Yeah.
For kind of switching between negatives and positives?